Let's keep it that way. Let's keep the conversation going right here. Channels TV Sports Center in Lagos, Nigeria. You know, we do it. This show, we keep telling you, is designed for you. Now, talk to us. Chelsea fans, fans of Jose Mourinho, also haters. Yes, let's hear from the haters of Jose Mourinho. Hey, all his mouth now he's been kicked out. We want you to get us talking this morning on Twitter. We're channels_sports, and on Facebook, we're channels IFN Sports. You can also send us an email to sportsthismorning@channelstv.com. It's not just Jose Mourinho that's on the menu this morning. We told you, Odunayo Adekuroye, that girl from Akure, Ondo State in Nigeria, she traveled to Mumbai. She's beating the entire Indian wrestlers. We'll tell you the story of Odunayo Adekuroye this morning. We'll also talk about football in Nigeria. What's the update? Particularly one of these talks coming from Taraba, the Super Eagles in camp. It's an action-packed world of sports. Talk to us. And guess what? It's for Friday, so use whatever hashtag you want to. For hashtag Victor, hashtag Tayo, hashtag Cecilia. Just talk to us. Let's talk to us this morning. But I know the hashtags Mourinho will dominate the show this morning. I want you to keep them coming, so talk to us. That's right.
Okay, hashtag Mourinho. Of course, we'll be talking about Jose Mourinho. Just look at his statistics, what he's done at Chelsea and what he did before, and of course, what he did this season and what actually led to his sack that everyone started saying, hey, he isn't to blame. The players are not to blame. What really happened behind the scene and all that we heard from Michael Menalo, who was saying that, well, there was a kind of palpable discord or something. And among the players, maybe
between manager and players. That's according to Michael Menalo. That's the technical director for Chelsea in that one. And Austin, you said something earlier about a lot of people not being surprised. But for me, I was, let's say, I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised. I'm shocked because I felt Jose Mourinho. Okay, yeah, that's Chelsea's statement when it was officially confirmed.
When they use that word mutual consent.
Come on. They're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. There's no mutual consent here, Cecilia. Jose was called into the office and it was told his services were no longer needed. Come on.
We're talking about it.
Come on.
Maybe after the meeting on Wednesday night, the board went back and like, what did we do? Jose is still coach. Not another emergency meeting. I mean, we're 16 on the table.
Exactly.
We're keeping this guy. No, we must do it on Thursday. Time is running out.
I said I'm shocked because I felt Jose, based on everything he's done for Chelsea, the most successful manager. I thought he's been able to buy himself, time, stay of execution for at least one season. So I didn't really see this coming. But then I'm not surprised because football is a result-oriented business.
That's right.
You've got to win. The manager is as good as his last result.
That's right.
Chelsea's last couple of results have been horrible in the Premier League.
Terrible.
So that's why I'm not surprised. But having said that, I still maintain my earlier stance that it's a very rash and harsh decision.
I mean, most of the fans will definitely agree with you because we're not really happy, that it's gone. I mean, some of them are even saying if it's possible, they wouldn't even want to come watch the game against Sunderland. That's how sad, they're feeling right now because they feel Jose Mourinho deserves a second chance, even if he had to leave Chelsea, not in this particular manner. Because I believe in him that he can actually turn that team around.
The club has been embarrassed, guys. What are you talking about? He's talking about embarrassing matter when the club is feeling embarrassed. 16th, you lost to Bournemouth at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, things happen. You lose
just
games.
15 points.
Austin, you
in
lose
16 games.
That's the game. That's the
not
Jose.
Not Jose, not Chelsea, not Ibrahimovic, not all the money you've spent buying Diego Costa, buying Sex Fabregas.
Yeah, we get all that.
It's business,
Austin, we get all that, okay? But then what I'm saying is, come on.
Should this guy bring you his bank statement so you see the dents that Jose has already done to it?
What dents are you talking about?
And I'm hearing he's going to get so much money.
Yeah, well,
walking away.
He's going to get paid.
That's the best way to walk out of failure. That's the best way ever.
Terminated 4 times. Let's listen to the Stamford Bridge, fans at the Stamford Bridge yesterday reacting to what Jose said.
But before we listen to them in London, let's still stay in London first because we're now being joined live on the program. Shoggy Tosh has been standing by. He wants to give his view because everyone wants to talk about Jose Mourinho. Maybe we'll also get someone that is not football talk about Jose Mourinho because that's the talk in town now. So, Shoggy Tosh, if you're ready, we're ready to. That's him right there. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys. How's Niger over there?
Okay, yeah, the Harmattan is coming down, but still mild in Lagos. I know it is hot in England because of Jose Mourinho.
Well, the weather is cold, but it's hot because of Jersey, as you said.
Okay, so how did the news come to you? Tayo Salam says he's surprised and he described it as being embarrassing for the caliber of Jose Mourinho's status. What's your take?
Well, that's football. It wasn't a surprise to me. I did have a little chat with Mike Emenalo, who's an ex-Nigerian international and, obviously doing Nigeria proud. I'm a little bit close to him, so I do visit him from time to time, and I get my free tickets. I'm a Chelsea supporter, by the way. But as a fan, yeah, well, I appreciate what Jose has done, and even the fans, love what Jose has done. But it was a writing on the wall. Everyone knew it. You know how the football business is. I know as fans, we enjoy football, and we just want it to go, as we want it to go. But as a business, obviously, especially in football, even in sports, once you're not doing well, even if you've done well yesterday is gone. And the writing has been on the wall. And I had a chat with a number of people, even a number of TVs a couple of days ago, and I still say the same thing. Once you don't get results, that's what happens. And with Jose, what happened was so easy. And it's a lesson for all. I mean, when you look at, the Fergies and you look at the Wengers, those Fergies are retired, you learn a lot from them. When you're in the business for young, because Jose is a little bit young, just over 50, and he has a lot to learn. You don't criticize your players in the media. It's not something you do. The ever, as they call it, the ever cause, that was the main thing. Because when you look at it, you think, oh, it's not a big deal. But all the players, I know Ever, and I know most of the players, they were quite closely connected to Ever. And when that happened, that broke a link. And psychologically, and even, even last season, you could see that the players wanted to, die for Jose, they wanted to die for the club. But that was a chord that couldn't be fixed. The way she left, the way she sued the club, the way she sued Jose, that was the first problem. And when you lambast your senior players, in the open like that, do you understand? You just don't do that. You look at Fergie, you look at Wenger, Pep, they'll defend their players to whatever happens in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. So when you lambast, Terry, and you lambast, you don't recover from that. Yes, a lot of the players were not doing too well, but it's not that bad. And you see, I can predict now that you see that now, even if the caretaker is in, if Mike Emenalo is put in charge, as temporarily, you will see a different kind of Chelsea against Sunderland.
So what you're saying now, Jose is actually known to support and defend his players. He's renowned for that, from Porto to Inter. So I don't really get the part where you're saying he's coming out to lambast his players. I believe the only time he's actually really said anything negative about his players was after the Leicester game. And you can understand why, because he felt his work was betrayed in that particular game. That's the only time I can point to.
Oh no, there were a number of times. There was like 3 times. He did one during before in the Champions League campaign, and he did some, like in a number of games. I forgot the number, but like at least 3 times. There was a time he, apart from hauling John Terry off, when they were playing Man City, obviously the pace was too much for John Terry. But then there's a way that Jose comes out and he just lambasts his players. He spoke against John Terry. There was a time even the Leicester game, was saying that Hazard, that he could have tried a little bit more.
There's nothing wrong with saying that.
But even before then, I remember when he picked up a number of players, 3 players that he picked up a number of times, in the open, betrayal, you don't do those things. You don't do those things, and that kind of hitting back. Players will do what they have to do, because I know a lot that goes behind the scene. There's so much I can't say, because a lot of it was told to me confidentially. But I've worked, amongst players. We do PR with players, so I know what goes behind the scene. And players, you hear of players' power. They'll do what they need to do, but they won't do what they don't need to do, if you understand what I mean.
Okay, now it simply means the players' issue actually led to the sacking. It wasn't just all about the poor results, because there was a time last month when Abramovich came and said he's going to support him, he's behind him. The fans says they were all behind him. Was it because of that betrayal statement he made that the senior players were really not playing well? Was that the main reason it was actually asked to go?
Well, I won't say 100%. We all know that, there's that next season syndrome. So obviously you do very, very well. Hazard did brilliantly, you know, with the assists. Fabregas did brilliantly with the assists, with the goals, you know, last season. You know, let's not forget, like someone like Ivanovic, you know, who scored like 5 goals, had assists, you know. So there's a lot of players that are not on form. You look at the preseason as well. Jose gave them, you know, another month off. You know, there was a lot of things that he changed around. And yeah, maybe the start wasn't so well. But when that ever thing happened, that knocked the players. You need to come on the ground. You know, you see matches, but when you come to Cobhams and you see how they train, you know, you see, even when Drogba was here, you see how they joke. You see Costa that is like the hard man on TV. He's just joking, you know, on the training ground. They joke with Ever, you know, it's just like a bond, like a family. But once Jose did what he did, you know, you could see from his point what he was trying to say, but Ever, you know, didn't know as a doctor how concerned was, you know, this guy is down, Hazard is down. And it's so easy now, hindsight, like, oh, she shouldn't have gone on. But then if he swallowed his tongue or something happened, then everyone criticized her that, you know, why didn't she go on? So she did what she did. And now, you know, what could Chelsea do? Because when you're supporting your manager and your manager is so strong, like coming out like that, you can't support, you know, they just have to support Jose. Do you understand? And that threw off the players. Do you understand? I give you another instance. If you remember, like, number of years back when David Beckham was still playing for Real Madrid, do you understand? He fell out with Fabio Capello. Yeah. And he humbled himself. You know, he just, you know, okay, play with the youth. He did that. But he got to a point where, you know, even all the players, they had to go to Capello and say, hey, this guy is so humble and he's doing what, he hasn't done anything wrong. Then he came back into the side and things just changed around. So a little thing like that can unsettle a squad. And then when you come out in the opening, not once, not twice, not 3 times, and saying, this guy, you know, there was a time he lambasted Matic, you know, not in the open. Do you understand? You look at Frankie, you know, back in the days, he would throw a salsa, throw pizza, do whatever like that, but he wouldn't say it out like that. And you remember, like, even when Roy Keane came out, that was one of the main reasons why he got rid of Roy Keane. Because, yes, Roy Keane had a point, but it's not your duty to come and do that in the public.
That's right.
You understand? Once you do that, and if you remember, a number of weeks ago, there was a player that was not named. I know that player, but obviously I can't mention that player, who went out to the press and said he would rather lose for Jose than win. Do you understand? So there's a lot that went on behind the scenes.
A lot. Thank you so much, Shoggy. And you're saying don't speak in the open, but you've dissected Jose in the open big time. Thank you so much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, CC, and thank you all. You guys are doing a great job. And, you know, as Nigerians will say, carry the go.
That's all. Carry go. All righty. So that's it.
That's explosive.
Yeah.
Can we just get to hear reactions from the fans?
Yeah, let's listen to the fans.
Listen to the fans.
The fans,
They say have some stuff to say.